King's Game, the animation, or Osama Game, is a 12-episode horror death game anime where 32 high school students in the same class are forced to participate in the titular event. In the King's Game, students are given orders via text messages from the king that they have to complete within 24 hours of receiving the text. Failure to comply means punishment, and that punishment could result in death. This anime review was requested by my good friend and editor of this video, Windzer, who suggested that this would make for an interesting negative review. Damn it, he was right. See, if I watched King's Game on my own volition, this anime would have been dropped by the second episode, because this anime, this pile of sulfuric bullshit, has officially made my very small, my very exclusive, but rather important anime shit list. For a recap, my shit list contains Green Green, Love Hina, the first season of Ikitosen, and Master Martial Arts. And now entry number 5 is King's Game. Now this list isn't just a list of anime I don't like, because there's more anime I dislike than just these 5, like Naruto. But they're anime that are actually incite either real rage out of me, or it would oftentimes just fascinate me in how terrible it is that I just can't stop thinking about it. How did King's Game end up to be the 5th ranger of this troop? Well, the anime is all around bad, but there are 3 glaring major problems. First off, the anime's pacing. King's Game is based off of a cell phone novel written by Nobuaki Kanazawa, and yeah, there's such a thing as cell phone novels. But the anime is actually adapting the second arc of the series, where main protagonist Nobuaki Kanazawa has already experienced the King's Game beforehand and is the sole survivor of it. And no, that wasn't a typo or me tripping on my words as usual. The author literally named his main character after himself. Now, starting an anime like this, skipping the first arc might be a little okay in theory because it isn't a complex narrative. You can just repeat the structure, play King's Game, people die, somebody might survive at the end. Rinse, rather, repeat. You know, most horror stories have that repetitive formula like Final Destination. However, this anime still goes back to Nobuaki's King's Game in flashbacks. Like, long flashbacks, enough to take up 5 episodes out of the 12. And therefore, more fucking characters the audience already knows they're dead due to our main character flat out saying they're dead, get more focus in the first half than the ones in the current King's Game, making the first half of the anime very painfully disjointed, and really diminishing the value of the cast of the current King's Game. Not that they have any to begin with, which brings us into problem numero dos, the characters. So in a typical shitty horror anime or even film and TV, the most common complaint in that subject would be that the characters are unlikable, underdeveloped, and just make a bunch of idiotic mistakes. Yes, King's Game has all that and then some. I mean, take a look at our main character, Nobuaki. He starts off in the anime as a broken shell who doesn't want to get close to anyone in his current class and probably just wants to die. Until he changes his mind at the sports festival, gets closer to everyone, then the second King's Game starts up. Then he becomes a determinator who is trying to get everyone to work together, make sure no one dies, just like he did the first time around. And like the first time around, those death flags are just fucking flipping upwards, man. It's just, they're waving in the air. I'm trying to keep spoilers to a minimum, but of course his classmates drop like flies, and of course he sheds waterfalls almost every time that happens. In fact, he kinda keeps switching from Determinator to a sad panda, to even a quitter on the fly, and then back to being sad. No, this actually happened in episode 9. I guess another character I could focus on is Natsuko Honda, the antagonist in this anime, which was supposed to be a twist revelation in the second episode, despite the fact that the opening credits gave it away. She starts off as friendly and possibly in love with Nobuaki, but then all of a sudden, she turns into a completely different character that's sadistic and determined to survive by any means necessary, even if she has to directly kill her classmates to thin out the numbers more quickly. everyone who sees her flip-flops notices the warning signs. Yet 2 minutes later, she whistleblows a false rape accusation on Nobuaki, and everyone believes her and kicks Nobuaki's ass a second time. Yeah, he got his ass kicked the first time around, and guess what? It didn't end well for one of those characters. And if you think that was stupid of them, you're still not prepared for the idiotic decisions the rest of the cast make, both in the flashbacks and in the current King's game. However, if these characters were as smart as a JoJo protagonist, it still wouldn't help because problem number 3, the King's game itself. So what I've gathered watching this tire fire of the show is that if the King gives you an order over text, you have to do it. You don't, you're fucking dead. You keep playing, you're still fucking dead because most of these games don't have a rhyme or reason or a method that would make any damn sense. No pattern at all. Like one order will have you kiss somebody, then the next order will have you fuck somebody else. Yeah, some of those orders can be straight up sexual, which leads into some tasteless fan service that belongs in one of those creepier, darker hentais. Then it gets more twisted, more violent, and even more unfair. One example? One of the orders was, don't do anything unnecessary. That's it. That's all it says. Doesn't even give out examples of what's unnecessary. And once you find out what that unnecessary action is, you would never still understand how you get to that point A to point B logic. And then later on, it turns the surviving cast of like 10 or less into fucking murderers anyway. So yeah, there's little to no hope. I also noticed that even though there's a series of mass deaths, all of them happening in the same school, in the same classroom, and yet not a single cop investigates any of these occurrences, all for the convenience of the plot. I wouldn't bother clinging on to any form of optimism for these characters, not because they're hard to root for, but because once you find out the big twist on what the King's game is, and how to quote-unquote end it, then you realize that this anime is a pointless, nihilistic, sadistic pile of compost written by someone with the mentality of a 15-year-old try-hard edgelord that apparently hates the meaning of the word hope and intelligence. The animation was done by Studio 7, and if they hired animators whose only work prior to this was cheap hentai, then it'll all make sense. All your basic corner cuts are there, keyframe slides, inconsistently drawn faces, not drawing complete faces when they are moved closer to the background, bad CGI vehicles like a taxi cab. Seriously, you can't just draw one fucking car driving on a hillside? I mean, if you're an animation buff, there's plenty for you to pick apart and rant about for the quality of the show. Now, as for the blood and gore, it's there. There's hangings, dismemberments, burnings, and it can often be laughable. Like that one scene where Kana, a classmate who is punished for losing a popularity vote, dives out of a classroom window, hits the ground, and geysers blood high enough that the rest of the class can visibly see it from a second-story building. Though outside of that, if you're here for just the blood and gore shock value, there's like a whole lot of anime I could list off my head that you could rather watch. There's Elfen Lied, Violence Jack, Berserk, Hellsing. Don't have much to say about the sound department, but the opening song, oh man, I love it. To emphasize the edgelord statement I made earlier, the song is called Feed the Fire by Caldrain, and it's the edgiest emo metal shit that rivals Death Note's second opening. And then there's the dub. I saw this anime on the Funimation channel. Now they were able to put out a good dub on a terrible show before, Master of Martial Arts, but here, it's subpar, but I can't blame them considering the material. I mean, Nobuaki, when he does his screaming cry into the sky cliche like most anime characters have, he ended up sounding more like that infamous Tidus laugh from Final Fantasy X. And Natsuko's VA, well, she did do a good job switching her tone as if she's voicing two completely different characters when she goes into full yandere mode. So overall, if you're looking for a good horror death game anime, it's obvious I cannot recommend King's Game to you for the aforementioned reasons. However, if you're looking for a tire fire that can never stop burning, if you're looking for something that will piss you off and possibly have you laugh at, this anime has the works. Stupid character motives and decisions, bad animation, dark subject matters like rape done very tastelessly, nonsensical plot twists, and the plot progression that just gets dumber and dumber to where the payoff at the finale is just something to behold. You think you know bad anime, but I don't think you do. I don't even need to watch the rest of 2017's anime catalog to find if there was something worse that year, because King's Game is without a doubt the worst anime of 2017. Don't believe me? It's available to watch subbed Crunchyroll and dubbed Funimation. Give it a watch. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, if you've already seen it. Or who knows? Maybe after this recommendation, I wish to converse with you during a streaming event. It's a new idea for my channel, and I need my fans' input on this one. I do hope you enjoyed this video. And you know what? This is why I didn't mention spoilers, even though I like to spoil bad anime. I want you to see this anime. I do. I hope you enjoyed this review. Darkscream signing out.